How y'all feeling so far today? Who been following this story with me?
Stand by ours regardless. This is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn. Wow, those were the chaotic scenes outside of a Texas courthouse this week during the murder trial of Carmelo Anthony. Hello, everyone. This is the second hour of the big weekend show. It is day 3 of the trial of Carmelo Anthony, and he's accused of first-degree murder for the deadly stabbing of fellow 17-year-old high school student Austin Metcalf. Now, the alleged murder occurred at a Texas high school track meet back in 2025. The defense team claims Anthony acted in self-defense, while the state rested its case just moments ago after calling 21 witnesses. We have team coverage with former NYPD Inspector and Attorney Paul Morrow standing by. But first, we go to Brooke Taylor live outside of that courthouse in McKinney, Texas. Hi, Brooke. Hi, Tommy. At the center of the prosecution's case right now are these students that were under the tent. They saw the stabbing and the moments leading up to it. More than 10 of these students and teammates testified in court yesterday and today. Now, many told jurors that they thought that Carmelo Anthony, who went to a different school, was under their team's tent. The defense said that Anthony was sheltering from the rain and recognized someone there. Students testified that Austin Metcalf repeatedly asked Anthony to leave. Several recalled Anthony responding, "Touch me and find out." Now, jurors also heard that Metcalf.
That's why you keep your hands to yourself, guys.
But witnesses described it as minor. One called it a soft touch, another described it as a little push. They testified that moments later, Anthony pulled out a 5-inch folding knife from his backpack and stabbed Metcalf in the chest. The defense argues Anthony acted out of self-defense and fear. Now, one of the key witnesses today was a 17-year-old teammate of Metcalf's who was under the tent. He testified that Metcalf tried to avoid a fight, telling Anthony, quote, "Dude, I'm not going to fight you at a track meet." The jurors also heard.
That's why you keep your hands to yourself, guys. Crazy work right here.
Because he knew both.
I don't play these games right here.
He was the student who Anthony was apparently saying hi to.
That's insane.
When Austin asked him to leave, quote, Carmelo said,
"What's going on? How y'all feeling today? Don't play these games, guys. Tap in with me. Share my live if you can."
Anything to be in there, Carmelo said. "Touch me, you'll have to move me and find out," trying to provoke him. Then what happens? The prosecutor asked. He said Austin puts his hand on him and falls back. How was Austin trying to move him? The prosecutor asked.
It's crazy.
Him trying to move him off his seat, a soft shove. The prosecutor then said, "What did Austin do?" The witness replied, "I see the hole in his chest and blood." He starts screaming for help.
That's crazy.
Now, the state's last witness was a medical examiner. The prosecution showed 4 pictures of Metcalf's family stepped outside the courtroom so that they didn't have to see that.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all feeling?
Anthony face up to.
Share my live. Tap in with me.
Brooke Taylor, thank you so much.
What's going on, Hawk?
Joining us now in
Share the live if you can.
Developments in this trial is former NYPD Inspector and favorite Paul Morrow. Paul, I could talk to you about this all day, but I'm very excited to get your take on this. They got 21 witnesses. You've got these witnesses we just heard from Brooke Taylor saying that if Austin Metcalf touched him, it was a soft shove saying, "Hey, get out of our tent." Then you have, of course, the stabbing that led to the death of Austin Metcalf. How do you break this down? And second question, how does race play into this? Because the folks outside really want to make this about race. I'm not so sure that factors in legally, though.
No, legally, factor into it, but let's be honest, it's going to be a factor if anybody is so inclined in the jury to listen to people that are trying to foment that attitude outside the courtroom, and if they can hear the noise. We've seen that so often here in Lower Manhattan, and to ignore it is naive. Let's review the facts as we know them, right? Not the testimony, the facts. Number one, Carmelo Anthony is in the opposing team's tent for no good reason. Number two, he's armed with a knife. All right, those are not in dispute. Those are facts. Then we get the testimony. He's there. He's asked to leave. He doesn't want to leave. He says, "Touch me, you'll find out." According to the testimony, then Austin Metcalf puts a hand on him, gently shoves him, and then he reacts, reaches in, pulls out this knife. Why he had a knife? at a track meet is going to be a big issue, I'm sure, going forward as we get to the defense and then, of course, the closing arguments. The action in this is going to come down to two areas. Number one, under Texas law, you can't provoke an incident and then claim self-defense. That's why I went into that recounting of the facts. He's in the 10, and then he won't leave, even after being asked numerous times. And he's from the opposing team. And supposedly they are strategizing how they're going to run the track meet, and so they want him out of the 10. And then the other thing is that your response, if you are threatened with force in Texas, is that your response has to be quote unquote reasonable. Even under the opening argument that his attorney made, which articulates the idea that Metcalf and his brother had sort of surrounded Carmelo, that doesn't, to me, rise to the level of pulling a knife and sticking it in somebody's chest. So I am hard pressed here to see where they're going to go. They must have some really, really compelling witnesses on the defense side, because as of now, I don't see why they even went to trial.
Wow.
Paul, I find this case sad and disturbing, but also fascinating because I have, if you've ever been in the state of Texas, at least until recently, I know constitutional carry is a different thing, but you get your carry license, you have to take classes on what the self-defense laws are in the state of Texas. I think every state should do it, but I think it's really educational. And you learn the Castle Doctrine. You learn why Texas is viewed as a state that allows you to defend yourself in situations even other states don't.
Sure.
But there are
His hands on me.
Yeah.
That's all he said. That's not an articulation of.
does that rate premeditation? Touch me and you'll see what happens.
You know, premeditation is much debated in law. Like there are instances where
Fair
people say it can be literally a second or two, but in this case, it really doesn't matter. The way Texas law is constructed, you have capital murder. That is, if you are going to be put on death row, and that has a specific set of circumstances that are not present here: killing a witness, multiple victims, killing a cop. Same thing in New York. But furthermore, he was 17 at the time of the crime. Even if he,
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna be investing in a new camera today.
he doesn't get it. So the most he's looking at is 99 years.
I hate what I'm using right now. I said in previous videos.
Last week that there were 3 black jurors who were removed by the prosecution, and the defense objected to that, claiming that it was racially motivated. However, the prosecution came back and said no, it was because they were teachers. And at least one of them was on record apparently saying that he would have had a very difficult time voting to convict because Carmelo looked like just a kid. Give us your read on that.
Yeah, so you knew in this case, as we've seen in so many cases, that there was going to be a lot of scrutiny on the jurors, right? And in this case, you're 100% right. They had 3 female black teachers who were the only African Americans apparently in the jury pool that made it to that point. The prosecution used their exemption.
I'm not African American, guys.
Those 3, the defense objected. The judge sided with the prosecution. But
I'm from Pangea.
Focus on that. Why? Because that is.
You gotta do your research.
And, I've seen it speculated online. I don't know that they're doing this by half because they're playing with a young man's life here. But
I'm from Pangea. I'm not African American. Just wanted to make that clear.
Game that out, knowing that they would like, because what the prosecution used to get rid of those 3 was not, well, they're black. You can't do that. You can't do it on the basis of race. They did it saying they're teachers. And this was a student. And for the reasons that you said, they'd have a hard time being objective. That carried the day. So is it possible that they're actually playing for that appeal? I'd be very surprised. I think that, as I said, that's too cute by half. But nonetheless, that is going to be an issue. The jury selection in this thing, of course, was crucial. I don't know the rest of the composition of the jury, but I do know that there are no other African Americans.
Well, I keep going back to the why question. Why would somebody bring a knife to a track meet in broad daylight? It reminds me of a certain parallel to a certain extent. Alex Preddy up in Minneapolis, where why would you bring a gun to an ice staging area when you provoked ice in the past and expect that something bad could not